Okay, serving a judge as a basic procedure when done at the courthouse is that the server goes to the courthouse, identifies that the judge is in the building, and goes to their judicial assistant and serves the papers.
This is Susan Bassi with a video that's all about judges, the district attorney, and investigative reporting. And this is a video where we got some help from Mark the process server because he came down to Santa Clara County to serve 3 judges with a federal lawsuit: Judge Julie Emedy, Judge Roberta Hayashi, and Judge Cindy Hendrickson. And because I have not been allowed to go into the courthouse with my camera, and because a restraining order issued against me has prevented me from going to the county, we're going to have to use some video we've taken out on the street, or that Mark the process server had to take without the assistance of a professional photographer.
Judge Emedy, yesterday there was a court watcher that came down from San Mateo County, and she was court watching because she's going to have her own divorce case. And she went into Judge Cindy Hendrickson's courtroom, and they started complaining about her being there. They made a big deal about her having her phone. They shut her phone off, and they made her sit in the front row, and they embarrassed her. She wasn't even a litigant. And they started being concerned about whether she was court watching for somebody. Do you have any comment on that, Judge Emedy? Judge Emedy, how much more money do you make a year as an administrator for the presiding judge of the court? The public really has a right to know that.
Judge Julie Emedy is the presiding judge in Santa Clara County. That means she's in charge of all of the courts, and she gets paid a little extra money. She's supposed to assure fairness for everybody, but we find that Julie Emedy goes to lunches with lawyers. She also belongs to all the clubs with the lawyers and other judges, and she rarely speaks to any media other than mainstream media, where she's been known to talk about issues related to her time working in the criminal domestic violence court and about issues related to her personal life. And yet when we asked her questions, she didn't want to answer our most basic questions about fairness in the courts when it came to Judge Cindy Hendrickson's courtroom. And now Judge Emedy and Judge Hendrickson are both named in this federal lawsuit.
As a basic procedure when done at the courthouse is that the server goes to the courthouse, identifies that the judge is in the building, and goes to their judicial assistant and serves the papers. Apparently here in Santa Clara, it's a different process.
Meaning Santa Clara has an informal policy and doesn't follow the law that applies to all other judges in the state being served with lawsuits. And judges have immunity, but they can be sued in federal court for injunctive relief, meaning asking a federal court to consider if somebody's constitutional rights were violated, or they can be served with a disqualification motion, meaning somebody or their attorney has determined that a judge is acting unfairly in a case or not making proper disclosures. And when a judge acts unfairly, they need to be served with a disqualification motion, and then they decide if they're going to get off the case or they're going to make you fight them for it.
Apparently here in Santa Clara, it's a different process. And the fact that the courtroom for the judge was not open at this time, they led me over to a sergeant from that department. He told me that I could go down and serve the clerk's office, but I would have to do it on Monday because they close at noon on Friday. However, these people hired Andrew's Legal Support Services, and I tried the door at the clerk's office and it opened. So I went in, sat down with the clerk, and I was told to take it up to Family Court Services and they would accept service. And that is in fact what happened and how Judge Hendrickson was affected service today.
Judges can either be elected to or appointed to the bench by the governor. And Judge Cindy Hendrickson became a judge after working as a prosecutor in Santa Clara County and getting some help from Stanford law professor Michelle Dauber in running a political campaign to replace Judge Persky in the event that he was recalled. And when Judge Persky was recalled, Cindy Hendrickson was elected. She was then assigned to the domestic violence court and family court in Santa Clara County, where she has remained ever since.
All right, here we are in Santa Clara, and we're serving for our client Michael, father in exile, who hasn't seen his kids in quite a while because of a lawsuit here. And earlier today, we served the district attorney's office, Jeff Rosen, and we served Santa Clara County over at the administration building. Unfortunately, we couldn't have Susan Bassi there because she has an illegal restraining order against her First Amendment right to uh, videotape at the courthouse for reporting purposes, the county building, the administration building. And so I went into the office, went to the counter, and they had the same lady come and meet me again. She takes it. She's not very happy about taking a lawsuit from me, but we got it on video.
For 6 years, the Santa Clara County District Attorney prosecuted me for recording a police officer who broke my hand in that family courthouse file room. And in addition to that, the district attorney also supplied a declaration in support of a civil harassment case to keep me away from this office and to keep me away from recording or making public comment down at the county building. So, Mark the process server served the federal lawsuit on District Attorney Jeff Rosen and Jay Borski. And interestingly enough, when you look at all of the cases where people are complaining about unfairness, there is a definite pattern between a few group of prosecutors, judges, court staff, and lawyers, whether they're criminal defense lawyers or divorce lawyers. And so we've been looking at that very issue, and because I can't physically go to the buildings, we started to do it on social media, looking at all of these prosecutors' Facebook accounts and also their Venmo accounts.
I got a service and process for Jeff Rosen.
Okay.
Can I get your card so I can say who I handed it to at the counter?
Let me call somebody.
And she was served. And then I went up to the Board of Supervisors, who their staff in front counter, very nice lady, went in the back, approved it, and accepted the service. And so those two were affected, but hopefully soon we'll get rid of this restraining order and Susan can follow me to the administration building and see how happy the DA's office is to see me.
So how is it that you go about investigating public officials when you're restrained from going to the county building where they work and you're not allowed to record in courthouses where the attorneys and the judges work? You go to social media, because in this day and age, even judges who claim they don't use social media, they probably do. They might use Nextdoor to talk about their neighborhood. They might use LinkedIn for more professional look. They might use Twitter to rant and exercise their First Amendment rights. Or they might watch videos. And sometimes they also use cash apps. Cash apps with public-facing information that some of the most powerful district attorneys and prosecutors in Santa Clara County, the heart of Silicon Valley, clearly don't understand, because we got the cash apps related to Jeff Rosen, and he, the most powerful law enforcement officer in Northern California, didn't make those accounts private. And so because of that, we were able to see who he transacted business with and who was in his contacts. But more importantly, we were able to look at Jay Borski and Olivia Mendoza, two other prosecutors and Jeff Rosen's chief of staff.
Thank you. No.
What is that? That's
Service of process for Jeff Rosen, Jay Borski.
okay. Please hold.
Hi, I'm Roberta Hayashi, a judge of the Santa Clara County Superior Court and lifelong resident of Santa Clara County.
We're going to get to the federal lawsuit involving Judge Hayashi in our next video, but first we want to address the other reason why judges are often served with court papers. In addition to being named in a federal lawsuit, they might be subject to a motion to have them disqualified from a case when they haven't made proper disclosures or there is clear bias and conflicts of interest. And we recently found that Cindy Hendrickson was posted on the Santa Clara County District Attorney's website with divorce attorney Nicole Ford. And the two of them had served on a political body, the Domestic Violence Council, for over 5 years together. And yet when we reviewed all the cases where Nicole Ford acted as an attorney before Cindy Hendrickson, we never found Cindy Hendrickson disclosing that fact. And when we wrote to the county and the courts and asked why the district attorney continued to put a photograph of Cindy Hendrickson on their website when she was no longer a prosecutor and there was an appearance that she was lending the prestige of the judiciary to divorce attorney Nicole Ford. The county took down the photograph and the court had no comment. So then we began to look into Olivia Mendoza's accounts on Venmo because it was there that we found that she was friendly with a client of Nicole Ford. And that issue may have had a play in that client not getting criminally prosecuted for child abuse because the case was pending before the district attorney's office and Olivia Mendoza was friends on social media and in hiking groups and exchanging Venmo payments with the person who was never charged by the district attorney in that criminal case.
Hi, I'm Roberta Hayashi, a judge of the Santa Clara County Superior Court and lifelong resident of Santa Clara County.
Just like police officers decide whether or not other police officers have engaged in misconduct, judges and lawyers do the same. And so now we'll let you know what Cindy Hendrickson and the other judges say about her undisclosed conflict of interest, because their answer might be a little different than the one in the court of public opinion.
To paraphrase Gloria Steinem, voting is something I do to honor those who come before me and protect those who come after me.